everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Tally, and today we're going to be testing out the new NYX liners. These are a stain liner. They're not the peel ones, which I am very happy for. It is the marker version of that, but these are supposed to be a liner as opposed to an actual stain like their liquid IV ones are, which I do really like. However, I feel like sometimes the gloss doesn't match the stain that it leaves, you know? So that's my only gripe, is I wish that with these, this color is what the stain would be, and for a lot of them, the stain looks a little different when you wipe off the gloss. So that's my only gripe with those, but I think that's kind of similar for a lot of the glossy stains. It's more of the water stains that you get, where you get what you get with those. But I'm very curious to see what these will look like. Will they be a good brown liner choice? I love brown liners, and I do have these versions of them, of their liners. So here, this is the, just says NYX lip pencil. That's all it says on this. NYX lip pencil, that's it. But these ones are supposed to give you, I think they say like 5 to 7 hours of wear, so not necessarily all day. To be perfectly honest, they last maybe like slightly longer than the e.l.f. satin ones, but not by much, especially depending upon what you're eating or anything like that. So I'm really hopeful that these truly will give me an all-day lip liner that I can put on and just forget about it, because these are definitely a lot more affordable than the Huda ones. They're actually, when you look at per an ounce, they're more expensive than the CoverGirl one. The CoverGirl one is about the same price, around $12, but you get more per an ounce when you look at the ounce of product that is actually in here. You get more with the CoverGirl one. However, the CoverGirl one doesn't really have good brown shades. At least on the swatches, the brown ones look really kind of orangey. Maybe they look different in person. But because of that, I haven't really jumped the gun on getting these. But when I saw NYX, I saw they actually had really good brown lip liner options. I had to get them. I had to get the browns, at least. So we're going to be swatching and then doing a long wear test to see, actually, are these worth the money. Now these are like a ballpoint tip, which is very different. I do have this one by SheGlam, and you can see it just kind of looks like an actual marker. Like, this looks like a marker, something you would color with, you know, in kindergarten. And this is a actual, kind of gives more pen vibes. Now what I didn't like about this one, and I've been told that it's the same with the CoverGirl, is the product kind of, you like run out of the product at the tip. The tip doesn't want to hold a lot of product, so when you're trying to get a precise line at some point, when you're doing everything, the tip runs out. And it does help to store them upside down, but it's annoying. So I'm hoping that the little bulbous tip right there is going to help like hold product in it, so you don't run into that problem. I also say, like, one thing that also where I haven't gotten the CoverGirl ones is I saw people doing like long wear test comparisons of the Huda and then the CoverGirl, and the Huda definitely seemed to wear a lot more evenly. The CoverGirl one didn't, so I was like, maybe not worth the money. Hopefully these ones do wear nicely. The thing I don't like is I can't put like the cap on the end, and I hope I never lose the cap, because you lose the cap, it's, you know, it's game over. It's not like it's a pencil. These I think this will dry out. So I'm trying to figure out which one is the lighter one, and then we'll start with the lighter one for swatching. All right, so this is again the NYX lip liner. But this is supposed to be a warm brown. It's Steamy Spice. So how it looks and how it applies. Very nice. I would say that is a pretty precise line. Other people were saying that the CoverGirl ones kind of bleed just ever so slightly, but I think that's pretty precise. It glides very smooth. I would say that no tugging, no pulling, nothing like that. I do think the bulbous tip, the little ballpoint tip, is helping to hold product so that the tip doesn't, you know, just run out of product and then you can't get that, you know, literally you can't draw with it anymore. So here is Steamy Spice. I would say it definitely looks a little bit more pinker on my lips, and that's just because the pink of my lips is coming through. So it comes off a little pinker, a little redder than it does on the hand. So let's try just to wipe this off and see what happens. Some did come off, but I'm still left with a pretty good stain on the lips. Naturally, the more you let it marinate and sit and not wipe it off, the more pigmented of a stain you're going to get. Okay, so this one is their taupe brown. This is the shade Lip Lock, and that's how they describe it, as a taupe brown. It's very, very, very cool tone. This almost kind of gives gray. You know, I don't think it's quite like gray, but it looks gray, you know, compared to, especially when you compare it to the warm brown. Definitely looks a little bit more gray. They did have a gray one, but I think they made that more for deeper skin tones. And when I looked at it, how it looked on lighter skin tones, it just came off as like purple as opposed to gray. Just gave purple vibes. So I was like, I'll skip it. So again, this is Lip Lock. But this for me is definitely a very cool tone brown on me. Might look different on you, but it's definitely very, very cool tone. I'm not mad about it. I like it. This one, I don't know if it's really coming off. Maybe if we use a palm. I feel like this one, the other one, I think just kind of, once I rubbed it off, kind of blended more into my lips better. This one wants to hang around. Because I can still see even with the balm. As annoying as it is to not be able to get the lip stain off, it's a good thing, because that means it's gonna last. Alright, so the last brown shade we have is Up to No Good. This is, I believe, the darkest brown that they have, other than the gray one, which again, on lighter skin tones, didn't look gray. It looked purple. But I do think that they didn't make that necessarily for lighter skin tones. They wanted to make it for deeper skin tones, and it didn't look quite as purple. You can still kind of see the purple undertone, but it didn't look like purple, like straight up purple on deeper skin tones. So, but this would be, I think, the brown that would be the most universal, just for everybody to use. I feel like it's pulling ever so slightly purple on me. It could just be me. You know, there could be some color theory going on. You'll have to tell me, does it, like, can you see that? There's like a little purpley undertone kind of pulling through. Just ever so slightly. Could just be me, could just be some, you know, color theory going on here. But I feel like it looks a little purple. But I know it can be difficult to get a true brown for a stain, you know? But you can see this is the deepest. Let's see, I can do the cap. Wish you could do that with liners. But you can see, but look, there, like, this is the color. It almost looks as dark as like the black part of the pencil. It looks, it doesn't look anything like it. But you can see this gives brown. This gives purple. Brown, purple, brown, purple. I was hoping that this would give this. I think, I've been told it's really difficult to get like a nice neutral brown like that's. Let me fill in my whole lip so you can see if this. Like, that's purple. That's not brown. Sunset makeup still for the win on brown lip liners at Sunset Makeup. Please never, ever, ever, ever get rid of this. A lot of times I'll actually use this as a liner. I won't put it on my whole lip, I'll just use it. You just take a little lip brush and use it as a liner. Since I already have all this one on all my lip already shaded in, we might as well just wear this one. Now what I think I normally would want to do, my lips do feel a little dry and I hate that drying sensation, is to put some sort of oil or gloss, something on my lips. Maybe we'll go with this. This is the shade Status Update. Might help it to look a little less purple. Definitely giving fall lip combo. I don't mind this lip combo. This is pretty. And the Status Update definitely helped it, I think, look a little less purple, which I appreciate. I'm curious to see how this will wear. Like, as it fades, will it just get like more and more and more purple? Will that purple undertone just really come through? But because the gray one already pulled so purple, I kind of wish this one didn't pull purple. Or if they had done a fourth darker brown one, so they did this as a cool brown, and this one is the warm brown Steamy Spice, but this one's not nearly as dark as this one. So I kind of wish, to me, these could be the warm and the cool. For lighter, if they had gone and done a darker one like this that pulled more warm. So then you would have a warm and a cool for deeper skin tones, and then or anybody that just wanted a darker liner. And then you would have these ones that would work more for paler skin tones, or somebody that just doesn't want something that stands out, quite as much. So to me, there's one missing. They could have done a darker warm brown. So now we just have to see longevity. How is this going to wear? Is it going to last all day? And because I filled in my entire lip, we'll be able to see, does it wear patchy? We'll be able to tell that a little bit better than if I had just lined my lips. It would have been a little bit harder to see if it wears patchy. But this will give us, I think, some good results just based on how difficult it was to remove. This right here, these two were it, and the middle one was on the longest. I used micellar water. I used a cleansing balm. My skin is still stained, and it probably will be stained all day, maybe even into. The only thing we need to see is, does it wear patchy? That's the last thing that we'll see. So I'll check in here at the end of the day, and we will get to see, is it patchy? And then the patchiness will tell us, is it worth the money? Is it worth it? Alrighty. So camera angles are going to be a little different, but it is the next day, and I'm going to give you just kind of my final thoughts of the NYX lip liners, of their lip stain liners. So I would say, I do think that they kind of dried my lips out, because I swear I exfoliated the night before, put Aquifer on, I did hyaluronic acid, I did everything to make sure my lips would be, chef's kiss for this trial, because lip stains in general can be kind of drying. It's why I like to put on lip stain, but then usually put on a gloss or a lip oil or lip balm, something to help kind of hydrate, or put a moisturizing lipstick over it, just because you gotta do something. That way when that stuff wears off, you still have some sort of pigment on your lips, so it looks like you're still wearing something. But I do think that when I put it on my entire lip, it did some damage. It did some drying. I even stupidly picked Hey Dry Passion Made It Bleed. Because once I could see it and feel it, I was like, and chewing on my lip like a wild animal. So I do think the formula is a little drying, just a tad, but that's only a problem if you use it to fill in your entire lip. And I would say that's not necessary. The liquid IV ones are very hydrating, moisturizing. Put that all over your lip. Oh, and then just use these as a liner. I think that's how they'll work best, just as a lip liner. Because it definitely has staying power and it definitely can last. although it did kind of look a little rough at the end of the day, but I think that's just mostly because I had filled in my entire bloody lip. And I would say that once I ate dinner and I had some corn on the cob, you know, with some butter, it was completely gone. So if you, at the end of the day, you choose to eat some greasy food, and it's already been on, you know, for several, you know, at least 8 hours or more, it's probably going to be completely gone after you eat that greasy meal. But yeah, I do like these. I do like that they have some pretty good brown options. A lot of lip stains, when I've seen them, they don't have a lot of good brown options, and these are some very good brown options. The other one that's, you know, in the same price range is CoverGirl, and CoverGirl ones look really, really kind of orangey and very, like, warm. You know, they don't give brown. At the very least, these give more brown. I still do think that for the darker shade, which, you know, up to no good, it kind of pulls a little purple, a little cool toned. Might be nice if they did something that came out with one that was this depth, but a warmer, more oranger one. So if you don't want it to be lean purple, you can have it, you know, a little bit more of a warm one. The pen, the little ballpoint, really helps bring the product down to the tip. So as you're doing it and trying to get a precise line, you're not going to run out of product. Formula, a little drying, but again, a lot of lip stain formulas are that way. I think if you just use it just as a liner, as opposed to an entire lip stain, you won't really notice or have any problems. It lasts for a pretty long time. I would say definitely I got a good 8 hours out of these bad boys before it started looking like, you know, I should probably put like a lipstick over it to help it look not so crazy. But that was just because I had filled in my entire lip. The actual outlines of my lip still looked pretty decent even after that 8 hours. I think if you're going to have your whole lip covered, 8 hours is max. But if you're going to just do the liner, you can easily get a 10 to 12. Just, but also, as I said, I hate that corn on the cob, and it was completely gone after that. So if you're eating a greasy meal, something to keep in mind that you might have to touch up a little bit with these. But I think that's true of any lip liner. I think these two are definitely my favorite, so which is Lip Lock and then Up to No Good. We'll have to see. I'll have to play around more with Steamy Spice just to see what lip combos I can create to see if I'll end up maybe breaking down and repurchasing it. So, yeah. My only gripe is I just wish it wasn't quite as drying. You know, if they had been able to put like some, I don't know, something like aloe vera or something in here to make it a little bit more hydrating, but yeah. Definitely make sure your lips are exfoliated and hydrated and moisturized and all of that before using these, and I think you'll get a better result. Alright, so guys, I hope you guys liked this review, and I will see you in the next video.